Hello and welcome back to Trigger Happy Havoc. Sorry, got my cord for my headphones caught there.
Oh, I have no doubt it'll meet your lofty expectations. So, shall we go?
So before I even knew what was happening, the class trial had been put on hold. We headed off with Kyoko in the lead, and where she took us was...
The girls' locker room?
You've already searched this place top to bottom! What are you trying to pull, Missy?
I'd like you to examine the victim's body one more time.
You want to check it again?
Be sure to examine the entire body very carefully. Take your time.
Examine her carefully? Like using our hands? No way, no way, no way, no way, no way!
Oh, shut up.
It's probably best if I don't run my hands all over a girl's dead body.
She's not gonna mind, she's dead.
It's not that I'm creeped out or anything, it's just... based on religious grounds, you know?
Very well. I'll do it.
Thank you.
But you're a girl. You shouldn't have to touch a dead body. Just let one of the boys do it.
That's really sexist, Tina.
No, it's okay. I think Chihiro would rather have a girl examine her. So just leave this to me.
Sakura. What is this? Some kind of secret girl-on-girl action? Is that what you two are about?
Jill, you are creepy.
That's not it at all. Stop screwing around.
Okay, here I go. I'm sorry, Chihiro. Please excuse the intrusion.
Putting her hands together in a brief prayer, Sakura then began to quietly examine the body.
Be sure to check her entire body, and I believe we will solve this particular mystery.
Her entire body? I know you say that, but... What? This is... What is this...
Are you telling me Chihiro was actually a bloke?
What is it?
Not possible. It's not possible.
Sakura's eyes were staring wildly at Chihiro's lifeless form, and her massive frame trembled.
This girl is
what?
Is a boy!
Interesting.
Ah, I see. So she was actually a he.
Which means the killer was female.
Thank you for confirming this fact.
Which means it can't have been Bakura.
What?
You're joking, right?
I wouldn't joke about this.
Then it's really true?
Chihiro was a guy?
Huh.
Oh, what? You guys didn't know? Heck, I knew that right off the bat. Chihiro Fujisaki was totally a guy.
He was a cross-dresser? Oh, I'm really on fire! I wish I had killed him!
Yeah, still wasn't her
So
though.
that's what Kyoko wanted to show everyone, huh? Interesting. Yes, that certainly does make things much more
Which means
exciting.
in order to get into here,
Now let's ride
killer
this
must have been a
wave
girl.
of excitement back to the courtroom and get back to the trial. Ahem. I do apologize for keeping you waiting.
or
Now then,
someone
let's
with access
resume
to the
class
girls' locker
trial.
room.
We've all just learned of the shocking revelation that Chihiro was actually a boy.
Which is
Let's
why
pick up from
he
there.
didn't want to exercise with Sakura and Hiro, because then they'd have found out that,
Yes, well, I don't know his reason for hiding it, but the fact is, Chihiro was not a girl, but a boy.
I think Chihiro was actually a guy. The thought had never even crossed my
And
mind.
because the victim was male, he would have had no problem gaining access to the boys' locker room.
And neither would the killer. So the killer was a bloke, killed him in the boys' locker room, then took the body into the girls' locker room using one of the remaining e-handbooks.
Assuming his handbook did, in fact, list his gender as male, then yes, that would be true.
Of course his handbook said he was a boy. He dressed like a girl, but he was a boy through and through.
So then, there should be no issue with Makoto's initial assertion.
Yep.
The victim was killed in the boys' locker room, and was then later moved to the girls' locker room. And the killer could have easily used Sayaka or Junko's handbook to get into the girls' locker room.
Which means the killer was male.
So Chihiro really was killed in the boys' locker room?
I still don't understand the motive for moving the body, but yes, that does seem plausible.
Because in order to be killed in the girls' locker room, it would logically have had to be a girl to do it. That would be everybody's thought. So it was more evidence to push onto Jill?
Well, I must admit, I did find it rather odd. I knew he felt a little off. There was a certain incongruity to his female body.
This is the most titillating situation!
Yes, thank you, Jill.
So now everything has been connected. All the mysteries have finally become clear.
Okay, well, connected or clear or whatever. We still think you're the killer, remember?
Very interesting. This has become very interesting indeed.
You're a very broken person, aren't you?
He's off in his own little world.
What about you, Makoto? After everything we've learned, do you still think Byakuya's the killer?
Well, without a doubt, Byakuya is the one that made Chihiro's death look like Genocide Jack did it. But I think he might not actually be the killer after all.
What? But aren't you the one who accused him in the first
He
place?
doctored it, but the question is why?
He just seems to be too easygoing about all this. Like he's enjoying us solving the mystery. The way he's acting, it makes it seem like it doesn't have anything to do with him.
He could just be a
And you
competent
think
actor.
that might be because it doesn't have anything to do with him?
Plus, the evidence he left behind was a little too... How can I put it?
He's been pointing us in the directions all the bloody
He
case.
consciously chose to use the extension cord, knowing it could connect him to the murder. At least, that's how I see
He
it.
pointed the damn thing out to me, which means he's either arrogant to the point that he wants to get caught.
And Byakuya, when you found out the murder took place in the boys' locker room, it seemed to rattle you. And then again, when you found out Chihiro was actually a guy. If you really were the killer, that stuff wouldn't have had any effect on you.
Yeah.
So that's your thinking, huh? Well, it bothers me that you don't have more concrete reasons, but it's fine. I guess I'll mark it as correct for the time being.
Why the hell would you dick around with the body, though?
Mark it as correct?
He's right. I am not the culprit. I just happened to come across the corpse in the girls' locker room and decided to alter it.
Why?
Are you fucking with us right now?
No, I am not effing with you right now. I'm telling you the truth.
Well, I find it very hard to believe.
Yes.
Go ahead. Find it very hard to believe. You're free to be executed along with the rest of us.
The question is, why in the hell
you're
would you
really
do that,
telling
you
the
crazy
truth,
son
then-
of a bitch?
Why? Why do you do that to his body?
My reasons hardly matter right now. Uncovering the culprit is much more important, wouldn't you say? Now then, if it wasn't me, who was it?
Well, I don't think I can say for sure without talking about it a little more.
We're seriously gonna keep going? We're all good, aren't we? I thought it was clear Byakuya did it.
No, I'm with Makoto. If there's any doubt whatsoever, we need to explore every possibility.
Concur.
Because if we're wrong, we all die here.
That's true. Very well then. I'm with you too.
Damn straight. Count me in.
Alright.
Do you not have a mind of your own?
No,
Of course I do. What am I, an ant or something?
Anyway, let's discuss this all as a group one more time. We still have time to make our decision.
Yep.
That's very true.
Our lives are all on the line.
Yep.
Excellent. Then shall we resume our game of hide and seek?
But if Bayako didn't do it, then who's the real killer? Who murdered Chihiro? There's one thing we can be sure we know about the killer. The killer was able to gain access to the real murder scene, which means the killer is a guy.
I got it!
Since the crime scene was at the boys' locker room, you would need a boys' handbook to get in. Since Leon's handbook is apparently broken, the killer would have had to use their own. In other words, it had to have been a guy. That's still not enough. I need to find some more clues. Make your argument. Okay, this is about the gym bag,
Isn't
wasn't
there
it?
a single clue that might lead us to who did it?
Well, clues are one thing, but did nobody get a look at the killer?
I'm sure if someone saw the killer, they would have said something by now.
Yeah.
Perhaps someone saw the victim at some point. Even that might be enough for now.
Yeah. All we need right now is any kind of new window.
Well, we have her... No. Okay. Come on, Makoto, don't scare me like that. Makes me think something weird's going on.
Shoot!
Damn it.
Isn't there a single clue that
Might lead us.
Well, did nobody get...
I'm sure if someone saw the...
Perhaps someone saw the victim. Yeah. All we need right now is any...
It's over. It's all over.
No, it's not.
You want to know who saw the victim? The killer. And only the killer.
Wrong. It's Celeste saw
No,
that.
that's wrong! I believe someone else did see the victim before he was murdered. What do you think, Celeste?
Now that you mention it, yes. I did see him.
Huh? Really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, but I suppose only Makoto knows about this. The rest of you had no idea, did you? That is why you're all making such ugly noises.
Just tell them what you saw.
Whatever! Just hurry up and tell us!
It was last night, right before nighttime. I saw Chihiro in the dormitory warehouse. I saw him stuffing a track jacket into a duffel bag. And then, I assume, he headed off to exercise.
But we never found the jacket or the
Track
duffel
jacket and
bag.
a duffel bag? But we didn't find anything like that at the murder scene.
It seems likely that the culprit destroyed them to get rid of any evidence.
Concur.
And that is when he said something that struck me as rather odd.
Well, I'd better get going. I'm kind of in a hurry.
Chihiro told me he was in a hurry. But why would he be in a hurry? Only if someone were waiting for him, I should think.
So, Mr. Fujisaki was on his way to meet with someone, and then they were going to work out together?
But Hina and I had invited him to exercise with us plenty of times.
Couldn't have gotten
and
to your
he
locker
always
room.
declined.
Probably because he was afraid you'd find out the secret he was hiding, right?
I mean, it would have
Which
to be.
means that conversely, he must have trusted whoever he was meeting with very much.
Agreed.
Enough so that he was willing to risk his secret being revealed. Oh, what a marvelous friendship!
Yes, thank you, Jill.
The point is, whoever he met up with is the culprit, right? So we just gotta figure out who it was.
But knowing what we know, I can't even guess.
We don't have enough information.
No. You already have what you need to make the connection.
Huh?
You know who the killer is.
Seriously?
Who is it? Who's the killer?
Think back to the track jacket and duffel bag the killer disposed of. Focus on the details of these items, and it should become obvious who was waiting for him.
Blue?
Are you sure about that? You really think we can figure out who did it based on two pieces of evidence that we don't have?
Blue and white.
What? You want to track down some fingerprints or something?
Even if we had the equipment for that, we wouldn't know how to use it.
As was noted, the evidence is already gone. There's nothing to get fingerprints from.
Maybe, but we can make certain inferences if we just take the time to talk it out.
Easy for you to say, but fine. Celeste, did you notice anything special about the bag or jacket? The bag was just a normal duffel bag from the warehouse. All the bags in there are the same, so I can't imagine what would make that one special.
Well, if I remember right, there was a decent variety of tracksuits to choose from. Do you think there might be some connection between the culprit and Chihiro's jacket?
Perhaps. Let's explore that and talk a bit more about the jacket he took.
Does it really hold some clue about the killer? Somehow that's really hard to believe. This feels like one of those ones we're going to have to temporary truth call it with.
First of all, we know where Chihiro was headed. He was on his way to go exercise. So next we have to ask, why did he choose the specific tracksuit that he did?
What do you mean, the specific tracksuit?
I got it! He picked that tracksuit because it matched the one the culprit was wearing.
Possibly.
So, what you're saying is, the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him? My tracksuit is black.
I don't even have a tracksuit. Cause exercising sucks.
Here.
I have a white tracksuit personally. I got it from the warehouse, if you must know.
Did any of that really help us get any closer to figuring out who the
Okay, what are the
culprit is?
No way. Not a chance.
You heard him, right? What he just said without even realizing it?
He's right. What he said now is really odd. How did he know something like that?
First of all, we know where Chihiro was heading.
He was on his way, so next week, why did he choose?
What do you mean,
I got it! It matched the one the culprit was wearing.
So,
The killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit. My tracksuit is black.
Is it? No, like it.
Shoot!
Yeah.
First of all, we know where Chihiro was headed. He was on his way to go exercise. So next we have to ask, why did he choose the specific tracksuit that he did?
What do you mean, the specific tracksuit?
I got it! He picked that tracksuit because it matched the one the culprit was wearing.
So, what you're saying is, the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him?
Wait a minute.
My tracksuit is black.
Wait a goddamn minute. Did she?
Cause exercising sucks.
Did she mention what color the tracksuit in the bag was? She told me. Did she tell the rest of the room?
Help us get any closer to figuring out who the culprit is?
Because if she didn't tell the rest of the room, you know what that means?
Not a chance.
That means that Mondo knew.
You heard him, right? What he...
Yes.
First of all, we know where he was on his way, so next week, why did he choose?
What do you mean,
I got it! It matched the one the culprit.
So,
The killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him?
No!
How did you know it was blue?
Hold on a second, Mondo. What did you just say?
Huh? What'd I say?
Which implies it was Mondo.
When Celeste testified a few minutes ago, she said,
I saw him stuffing a track jacket into a duffel bag. And I assume he headed off to exercise.
she never said anything about the jacket's color. So why did you say Chihiro's blue tracksuit?
What are you? You just...
Bingo.
Hey, Celeste. What color was Chihiro's tracksuit?
So why the hell did you dick with the scene, you asshole?
As a matter of fact, it was blue.
And before we began the trial, did you tell anyone that?
Just you.
The only one I told about any of this was you.
Then, Mondo, how did you know what color Chihiro's tracksuit was?
Because I just...
I'm sure he saw the clothes at some point in the investigation.
We haven't seen them at all.
No, that can't be it. The bag and clothes were surely disposed of by the time we began our investigation.
Then the only reason he could have known what color the tracksuit was is if he saw Cherry with it before he died! That's the only possibility!
Can you please put those scissors away?
Are you talking about Chihiro? So, how about it? Did you see the tracksuit or didn't you?
Just by chance. I just happened to see it last night. He walked past me, and he was carrying the tracksuit in his hands.
As opposed to in the bag.
That can't be it either. According to Celeste's testimony,
It was in a duffel bag, which implies that Mondo is the killer. And just like that, she was gone.
when Celeste noticed it, Chihiro made a point of making sure the jacket was completely in the bag. If you just ran into him briefly, you couldn't possibly have seen what color the tracksuit was.
It would appear you've dug your own grave.
Perhaps. But you handed him the shovel,
So
didn't
the
you?
ultimate biker's gonna
That's
get
why you
what?
said
Run over
what
by
you
a
did.
crap load of bikes?
Focus on the tracksuit and it'll be obvious who he met with? What a bunch of nonsense.
Ah, now I understand. It was all one big bluff, wasn't it? Your true intention was to draw a slip of the tongue from the culprit. That's why you said you knew who did it, to put them on edge.
Classic investigator's trick.
That's right.
Imply you know more than
However-
you do.
Mondo was my target all along. I had my suspicions about him from the very beginning.
Why?
But why? What made you so suspicious?
That's a good question.
I assume it's the way he was acting. Or was it the way
There
he
was a
talked?
certain turning point that maybe you didn't notice it, Mondo, but you tend to refer to men and women differently.
Ah!
You only call guys dude. For girls, it's chick.
He knew. He
And
knew.
after he was killed, you happened to refer to him as dude. Once I picked up on that, it occurred to me that Mondo knew something we didn't.
Right.
You noticed such a tiny
I'll admit
detail?
that one slipped past me.
Are you a witch? She's a witch! You're positively frightful!
No, I'm not the frightful one. Not nearly as frightful as someone capable of murdering a friend.
Yep.
Mondo, was it really you?
Yes, I think
Did
it
you
was.
really kill Chihiro?
I didn't kill anyone! You've been all over me, judging everything I say, putting words in my mouth. What gives you the right to treat me like a goddamn criminal?
Yeah! He would never do something like that! This is a false accusation!
It's true. My reasoning on that is pretty shaky.
That fits.
That was fast.
Well, this does present us with a problem. It seems we are all out of leads.
My time has nearly come.
What have you got, Hifumi?
That's what my little ghost friend is telling me.
Just shut up and tell
Oh,
us.
yeah, that reminds me. Hifumi, weren't you telling me you'd found some evidence?
Really? What kind of evidence?
Actually, now that I'm thinking
Just
about it
tell
here
us, you
calmly,
monkey.
it might not be all that relevant.
I was gonna go with Muppet and then I changed direction mid-word.
Jeez, does your confidence just get up and walk away? It's fine, man. Just tell us.
If you really insist, then... Here it is.
That's an e-handbook.
What do you have there?
It happens to be an e-handbook. I found it laying on the ground, so I scooped it up.
Found it on the ground, right? And it must belong to... It's Chihiro's, isn't it?
I got it! We know Chihiro's handbook was missing from the scene of the crime, right?
For a fact.
For a fact indeed. I was totally sure I'd found it.
Then it must hold some clue about the culprit, right?
Well, that's what I was hoping. But it's busted. It won't even turn on.
I imagine the culprit broke it to get rid of any evidence after the murder.
That's odd. I didn't think the handbooks were quite so...
He said they have one specific weak... Did he use Leon's to break...
You're right. They're not. They're totally waterproof and shock resistant. It would take an awful lot to break one.
And yet, this one does appear to be broken. As
Use
is
one to
Leon's,
break the other?
sitting useless in the main hall. For all your confidence, that is a remarkably high failure rate.
Do you think there might be some kind of mystery in there somewhere? How precisely did the handbooks get broken?
By hitting its weak
I
point.
got it! You already told us before that the handbook has one weak point, didn't you?
Yeah! You remember that?
I have a reasonable memory for bollocks.
Sure, maybe I let that slip. But I never told anyone what the weak point actually was.
But if the handbook is supposed to never break, and two of them broke in quick succession...
That implies
then...
someone knows the weak point.
Then we can only assume that someone's figured out its weakness. You know what the weakness is, right, Monokuma? So, what is it?
You're asking me?
Yes.
I think it's a necessary piece of information if you want this to be a fair trial.
But if I tell you, and someone else decides to copy it, that would be very not good.
Just tell us, you crazy teddy bear.
Why would we want to break our own handbooks?
Oh well, I have a weakness for pushy demands. But you're sure you won't follow their example?
Scout's honor, now tell us.
Then allow me to make a special announcement. The weak point of my cutting-edge e-handbook is... when it's exposed to high temperatures for too long, it will suffer a meltdown and totally break!
The steam room. The goddamn steam room.
I flippin' knew it!
You knew it?
Yeah, because I found the handbook laying on the floor of the sauna.
The temperature in the sauna can reach over 200 degrees. Strange how you don't get burnt, huh? It's because as your sweat evaporates, it creates a cooling layer of air around your skin.
Yes, thank you.
If the hot air of the sauna were somehow pushed directly onto your skin, you'd definitely get fried. That layer of air would get blown away. That's why you may feel a burning when you move around. So when you're in a sauna, make sure to keep nice and still.
Yes, thank you.
Interesting. I learned one new fact today.
That is a mere trifling speck of knowledge.
Anyway, if you found the victim's handbook in the sauna, then the killer must have been purposely trying to raise its temperature in order to break it.
Meaning the culprit somehow knew its weakness.
Because theirs got destroyed when they were sitting in the
How'd
sauna.
they find out? Monokuma said he didn't tell anyone, right?
Indeed. Quite the mystery.
What if they found out by accident?
What do you mean by accident?
What if the killer took their own handbook into the sauna, not knowing its weakness, and it broke? They'd realize it was broken, of course, and it wouldn't be hard to figure out why. And once they had Chihiro's handbook, they knew they had an easy way to dispose of it.
I'll admit this game is quite clever.
I won't say it's not possible, but who would have done something like that? I don't know of anyone who took their handbook into the sauna.
I might know someone who did.
Whoa! Seriously?
Yep,
I think the one who may have taken their handbook into the sauna was...
it was Mondo. Yep, and Taka. It was Mondo. Crazy SOP.
Here's my answer! Mondo, your handbook got broken in the sauna, didn't it?
What? Why? Why do you keep accusing him?
Because it makes sense,
Mondo
goddammit.
and Taka had an endurance contest in the sauna not too long ago, remember? And for the contest, Mondo just so happened to keep his school uniform on. But little did he realize, he'd also left his handbook in one of his uniform pockets.
Yep.
And when it was all over, Mondo discovered that taking your handbook into the sauna could easily destroy it.
No, wait, hold on. You've got it all wrong. He would never kill. I don't accept this. Show me the proof. The actual solid proof.
I don't want to believe it either, but I found something that proves it beyond a shadow of a doubt. Okay, we've got one more of these bullet time sections.
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
Yep.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine.
No, it doesn't.
It's wrong.
Because we have a broken one. And you're
Mondo, the handbook you have right now, is it really yours?
turn it on and prove it. Right, that's a good point to end this part. So, thank you very much for watching, and we'll finish off this trial in the next part.